So today I'm going to show you how to make a pond in a pot. Now, if like me, you love wildlife, and I absolutely love wildlife in the garden, then having water will encourage even more and more wildlife to come in. And it's a really simple thing to do. So if you have children or grandchildren, this little quick project will bring in all kinds of exciting new wildlife into the garden. Now for my pot, I've got this tin bath. It's just an old tin bath. You could use something plastic. It doesn't have to be really attractive, because you can either have your pond in a pot standing like this on a hard surface or in a border, or you can bury the whole thing. Now ideally, burying it is perfect, because then you've got all wildlife be able to get in at the surface level of the water. I'm going to have mine hard standing and this lovely area of plants here, and I'm going to see how it goes. If I get wildlife in there and the birds like having a bath, it'll stay where it is. If not, I can bury it at a later date. So the first thing I have to do is put in some rocks. Now I've got a really huge pebble here, and I'm going to put that in the bottom, and that's because it's going to support some of my marginal plants that I'm going to pop in. So marginal plants are plants that like to be submerged in water to a certain depth. So all labels will tell you on a marginal plant, or on a pond plant should I say, at the depth that the pot is to be put at. So this pot needs to be 10 centimetres deep at least. So I know that if I stand it on that boulder there, it is submerged 10 centimetres under the water. So with any pond plants, it's just worth checking. Some pond plants are what we call deep aquatics, and they need to be put right down to the bottom of a pond and need at least a metre and a half in order to be able to thrive and grow to their full extent. But some of them, like marginals, just need 10 to 15 centimetres. So I'm going to pop a couple more boulders in just to prop up my plants. Now another reason to put boulders in is because if any wildlife is to come and have a bath, like a hedgehog or anything like that, once this is buried in the ground and they fall in, you want some boulders or something up the side so they're able to climb out to safety. We don't want any tragic accidents happening with any lovely wildlife that will visit us. And that's the same for any pond. So even if you're putting in a huge pond into the ground, then having a side that slopes will really benefit wildlife being able to come in and out safely. So the last plant I've got this, and it's called brass buttons, and you can see it's just got those little yellow flower heads coming quite nicely, and this will kind of give me a bit of shelter on the top. Now all ponds, you can see it's got a lovely root system there, and the whole thing will sit in water in the pot. So this is a rush, and it's got lovely kind of graceful foliage. And then this one here is an oxygenating plant. It's called a fibre optic plant, and you can tell why, can't you? It's like those lovely fibre optic lights you used to get in the 80s. It's really tactile, it's lovely, and that will release oxygen into the water that will keep all your creepy crawlies hopefully very happy in there. Now you can use any pot for this, like I said earlier, even if it has drainage hole in the bottom. I've used a ceramic container before with a drainage hole, and I've just used silicone sealer, like a bathroom sealer, and a big pebble, and blocked up that hole at the bottom, left it to dry, and you can still fill the whole thing with water. So don't be put off. Even if you have an old tub with a hole in the bottom, you can still use it as a pond. Now all I've got to do is fill it with water. And there we have it, a pond in a pot. Really simple, but super effective. And the more wildlife you can bring in, the more natural predators you have for things like slugs and snails. You know, birds will eat those up, as will frogs. So it's a really beneficial thing to have in any garden. You put the water in and the wildlife will come flocking. If you've got any more ideas of video you want to see, please do get in touch with our media team. For any more how-to videos, visit lovegardening.com.